we had one of these. So, man, today we just really want to talk about falling in love with the Crusade. And we've been working with a lot of clients lately that have really just shown us time and time again that what we do is not to be taken lightly. And I wanted to show you guys some examples of what's happened very in the very recent future. And also encourage you that there could still be people that you know that need what we have, and maybe they brushed you off before, or maybe you're afraid to talk to them. If you're in either one of those categories, I would consider reaching out again. And again, I'm going to walk you through something that Ozzy and I have been through lately. So, you know, here's a case study. We all do. We're big fans of doing the F&A for our families. We actually did one for a friend of mine, someone that I just started, getting to know out here. And her and her husband didn't have a mortgage. It was just consumer debt, a little bit of student loans, and this, it adds up, right? So they're a young family. They've got two kids. They're renters, and they were really desperate. They were looking like there's no way out. He's doing like side jobs and all these things, but they're just not getting ahead. And what we found is that, at the current rate that they were paying things off, they were going to be age 66, 65. And these people are in their 30s, right? So when we see, Bob and Susan, and we show people like these are real examples, they really do happen. So they were going to be in debt for 28 years and 11 months. And that just, obviously terrified them, which is why they're doing all these little odds and ends. But they also weren't sticking to a budget. And that's what the FNA did. It really showed them like, hey, there's actually a few $100 that are extra in your budget, and they're just flying out of your pocket because we're not telling it where to go. So with the FNA and the debt elimination plan that we did, man, they were so excited. We were able to take that debt that they had and pay it off 24 years and 11 months sooner, almost 25 months sooner, you guys. And it was, I mean, of our recent clients, I think they had the most hope and the most, just joy in their face, knowing they didn't have to be in debt for 30 years, that it could be done a lot sooner. And it actually inspired them to make some professional changes to up their income and get that out of the way as soon as possible. So, and they still talk about it. I reached out to her lately, like last week, and she said they were going on their first family vacation without using a credit card. Everything was out of pocket, and they just managed to be really savvy with how they were going to spend their money, where they were going to stay. And she just was beaming. She couldn't believe that they could actually do it. We're so grateful to us. So that's one case that we did. The next one is my chiropractor. So guys, when I moved here to Austin, I found a chiropractor that I really liked, but a few months later he retired. And this guy's in his mid 50s. So I thought like, okay, it's pretty ambitious, but go you, right? And even when he was working on me, he would say things like, yeah, my next move, I gotta find something that's residual, He would just kind of say, like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work and, keep working like this. So anyway, he retired, he left. Like 2 days ago, I went to go to the chiropractic office. Someone else took over, and he was there, and I was so shocked to see him. And I'm like, hey, super confused. And it sounds like he's filling in a little bit, and they're traveling, but he moved to Utah, and it sounds like he's realized very quickly in a 3-month span that like the money's running out or is about to run out, and he needs another plan. And he's like, I don't know if I should be a school teacher or learn how to tint car windows, and just like the most, it threw me off because how many of us think like, oh, he's a doctor, he's set. He's a doctor, he knows, right? Like, no, not the case at all, guy. That's just a degree. That's a degree on the wall that got him to where he was. And now he doesn't know where to go. And in his practice, his wife and him worked together. She was more part-time, but he's looking for his next thing. And he's telling his wife, like, you got to get to work. Like, they live in a nice area in Utah where people are either retired or making really good money, and they're apparently neither. So, obviously I felt the need to talk to him about the opportunity, tell him, if he's willing to tint windows, why wouldn't you be willing to take a look at a professional license? And that's what I did. And we're meeting with them soon because why not, you guys, right? So don't be afraid to talk to that professional that you see or that person that you feel intimidated or some kind of way. The next one is a family friend, and I'm gonna let Ozzy kind of walk you through exactly what it is that we saw and how we were able to help them.
So as you guys can see here, we sat down with a dear friend of ours, right? And you guys, one thing you got to keep in mind that you're gonna bump into people that might tell you they already have things in place. Natural inclination is to be like, oh, okay, move on to the next one. But this was the case, right? This is a dear friend of ours, a dear friend of ours who, who does well. He's a realtor. He does. He was like a principal at one point. He's pretty well known in the community, right? And he had a life insurance policy, and as you can see here, he had it with somebody who walked in, and then it gave him 155,000. He was 30. He was in 35 years, he was going to have to pay $232 a month, and at the age 70, he would have had $96,000. Which, let's be real, $96,000 in today's age is not really much, right? That's what he was on track for. 155,000. He was paying $232, and and what we were able to do for him is, honestly, we showed him how to get more value. He has two kids, 155,000, and a mortgage. Like, that's not enough to give him coverage. We gave him $500,000 worth of coverage for 35 years, level at $96 a month. And with that same 232 that he was using, we were going to invest that, and he was going to have $403,000 at the age of, in 35 years, at the age of 70. So he's 35 years, he's going to have $400,000. I don't know about you guys, but that's a huge difference. That's an extremely huge difference. That's, you know, almost four times the coverage and four times his rate of return, what he was going to get, because we sat down with him and evaluated his plan. So there's people out there that that you might think that they're all set. They might have good jobs, good professions, kind of like alluding back to what Dave said. And don't let that deter you from like having a conversation with them and at least talking to them about, hey, let's review. Worst case scenario, you already got the right stuff, but it doesn't hurt to take a look, because if I could help you reach your goals a lot faster, would you at least entertain, a conversation? Like, you're not telling them to move forward. You're just telling them to at least be open to connecting with you and reviewing a plan. And that's really what we do. That's the power of what we do. And honestly, the Crusade's got to be built. And you can see this enough, you understand we need to talk to more people.
Hmm.
And that's the truth right now, especially during the season, during the holidays. Imagine how many people think they're all set up. They don't think about this. They're going into the new year, think they're set. But hey, it's a good time to reevaluate and go through some of this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you guys take a look at a GoFundMe, there's a total of almost 500,000 GoFundMes for funeral expenses only. And you guys could go Google this, go on GoFundMe, search on the type of um like page or crowdsourcing page, right, that there is, and you'll see this number, and it's growing by the day. If you geo target that to where you're at, there's close to 400 near me, like here right now in Austin. And that's just 400 families who are getting just a little bit of the bigger picture that they need, right? Because a funeral expense is just a 1 or 2 day event, right? But there's families that are, I mean, go through, look at these heartbreaking stories. They're out there, they're public, right? And then very lastly, I want to share this one with you guys. It's not a family friend, but it was a very, very famous case, and I'm dating myself if you guys remember the Terry Schiavo case. But this was a 15-year battle between a mother and a husband. And Terry here, young girl, I think she was doing a little bit of like extreme dieting that caused her to go into cardiac arrest. And that incident left her in a vegetative state that you see here. So her husband verbally said she would not want this. Her wishes would be to like let her die of naturally instead of keeping her on life support and on a breathing tube. Well, the mother came in and said, no, we're going to believe for a miracle. And, we can't do this to my daughter, and she's going to come back. And I know it. Well, 15 years, you guys, they went back and forth with this poor woman on the fate of her existence. And what the news report eventually said is that had she had a living will,
these 15 years could have been avoided of all this fight. So if she actually and did say, I would like to die of natural causes, that would have been written on a will, but because it wasn't, this family was torn apart. It was taken all the way to the Supreme Court. It was a huge deal. You can Google it. It was a big deal. After the fact, she passed away and they did the autopsy. They did in fact say that her brain was like half the size of a regular adult human, and that her damages were completely irreversible. So her coming back, or that miracle that I'm a believer you really can't fight against. But in this case it was very unlikely that that would happen, and just went on for too long. And it's something that I really get behind with my moms, the mom groups that I'm a part of. Like, hey, do you have a will? Does your family have a will? And I swear I haven't met one person that says yes we do. Everyone says no, but it's on the back of my mind. No, but I know I need to tweak it on that. Right. So consider that, the PLPP program does this at a very, very, very low cost, and it just has so much peace of mind for our families. And lastly, I'll leave you guys with this. Let us not grow weary in doing well. What we do is good, you guys. You will reap what is good if you do good, right? If you do not grow weary. So that is all I have. You guys are out there, you're making a difference. Again, reach out to those family members or those close people nearby you. Don't get offended if they say no, or if they said no a while ago. People are people, right? It's always worth another conversation, just to make sure that they're all set and they understand what they have. So that's all for us. I hope you guys have a great weekend.